There's something I hear almost every week from my patients. They look at me with a quiet smile and say, "Doctor, I'm eating well. I haven't changed my diet much, but lately I just feel weaker. My legs don't lift like they used to. My arms tire faster." And then there's this long pause, that small, unspoken fear that maybe, just maybe, this is what aging is supposed to feel like. But I want to tell you something. It's not. You're not losing strength because you're eating less. You're losing it because your body, quite literally, has stopped listening to protein. After the age of 60, something subtle but powerful begins to happen inside us. Your muscles become resistant to the same protein that once made you strong. We call this anabolic resistance. And over time, it leads to sarcopenia, that quiet, invisible loss of muscle that sneaks up on millions of older adults every single year. I've seen it in so many of my patients here in California. Folks who once hiked every weekend, gardened for hours, played with their grandkids, suddenly noticing it's harder to get up from a chair or climb a flight of stairs without catching their breath. It's heartbreaking, not because it's inevitable, but because most people don't even realize it's reversible. You see, the human body is remarkable. It doesn't really forget how to build muscle. It just needs the right reminder. And that reminder comes from the food you eat, the kind of protein that speaks your body's language again. Now I know what you might be thinking. So doctor, should I just eat more eggs? Eggs are great. They've been the gold standard for years. Affordable, healthy, familiar. But here's what new research is showing us. As we age, it's not just about how much protein you eat. It's about what kind and how well your body can use it. Let me tell you about one of my patients. Her name is Martha. She's 72. She came to me last year worried because her arms felt weaker. She used to enjoy painting, but holding a brush had become tiring. When we checked her diet, she was eating well. Oatmeal for breakfast, soup for lunch, a bit of chicken at dinner. But her muscle mass had dropped by nearly 15% in 2 years. We didn't put her on any fancy supplements. No gym memberships. What we did was simple. We adjusted her protein sources. We added Greek yogurt in the mornings, lentils and quinoa a few times a week, and a small glass of whey protein after breakfast. 3 months later, she told me something that nearly brought tears to my eyes. "Doctor, I painted for 2 hours yesterday. My hands didn't shake." That's when I realized we don't just lose muscle as we age. We lose connection with our bodies. And rebuilding that connection starts with awareness. So I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time you felt truly strong? Not just physically, but steady, confident, balanced. Can you remember that feeling? Because the truth is, you can feel it again. Your body is still capable of renewal. Your muscles are still listening. They just need the right kind of message. And that message comes from certain foods. Simple, natural, everyday foods that have been right in front of us all along. Foods that outperform eggs, that repair muscle while you sleep, that feed both your gut and your strength. Science has finally caught up with what I've seen in my practice for decades. Protein doesn't stop working at 60. We just have to help it find its way back into our cells through foods that are easier to digest, higher in amino acids like leucine, and rich in nutrients that awaken muscle growth again. So no, aging isn't the end of strength. It's just the beginning of a different kind of conversation between you and your body. A conversation that says, I'm still here. I still want to move, to climb, to dance, to live. And as someone who's been on both sides of that journey, as a doctor and as a man in his 60s, I can tell you this. Every meal is an opportunity to turn that conversation back on. Every breakfast, every small choice is a quiet act of rebuilding the part of you that refuses to give up. In a few moments, I'll share with you the top 10 foods that have been proven, both in the lab and in real lives, to help rebuild muscle faster than eggs, especially for adults over 60. But before we dive into that list, I want you to remember one simple truth. You are not too old to grow stronger. You are not past the point of change. You're just one good meal away from reminding your body what it's always known, how to heal, how to rebuild, how to feel alive again. So let's start this journey together. Take a deep breath, sit back, and let's rediscover what it means to feel strong again. One bite, one choice, one morning at a time. If you've ever felt like your energy or strength is slipping away, I promise you, there's hope. And it might just start with what's on your plate tomorrow morning. Stay with me. You're going to be surprised at how powerful the right breakfast can be. You know, one of the biggest surprises for most people is realizing that the best muscle building foods after 60 aren't always what we used to think. When I was younger, back in medical school, we were taught that eggs were the gold standard of protein. And for a while that was true for younger bodies. But now after treating thousands of older adults, I've learned that our needs change, even if our habits don't. Our digestion slows down, stomach acid weakens, and our cells don't respond to protein the same way they used to. So while that one boiled egg might have been enough when you were 30, your 60-year-old muscles barely notice it. It's like knocking on a door that doesn't open anymore. That's why choosing the right kind of protein becomes so important. Let's talk about one of my favorite examples, Greek yogurt. It's rich in casein and whey, two forms of protein that release slowly and help repair muscle overnight. It's also easy to digest, which is crucial when your digestive enzymes aren't as strong as they once were. I had a patient named Robert, 68 years old, retired firefighter. Strong man, but he'd lost nearly 10 pounds of muscle after an illness. He told me, "Doc, I can't even open a jar without straining now." We started small. Every morning, half a cup of Greek yogurt, a handful of berries, a drizzle of honey. 3 months later, he sent me a photo, holding his grandkid high above his head, smiling ear to ear. He said, "My arms came back." That's what the right protein does. It gives your life back, not just your muscles. Now, another powerful option is lentils, something most Americans overlook. Plant-based, full of fiber, packed with iron, and most importantly, loaded with leucine, an amino acid that literally wakes up your muscle cells. Leucine is like flipping the switch that tells your body, hey, it's time to build again. And here's the amazing thing. Studies from the University of Illinois showed that older adults who increased leucine intake by just 25% gained muscle faster, even without heavy exercise. That means you can start improving your strength just by adjusting your meals. So what does that look like? Imagine a warm bowl of lentil soup for lunch, maybe with a slice of whole grain bread or a bit of olive oil and herbs. Simple, comforting, powerful. Then there's quinoa, often called the grain that acts like a protein. Unlike most grains, quinoa contains all 9 essential amino acids, the same balance you find in animal protein. It's also gluten-free and easy on the stomach. I often tell my patients, think of quinoa as your muscle's quiet ally. It doesn't make noise, but it does the work. Now, some people ask me, "Doctor, what if I don't have much appetite in the morning?" That's completely normal as we age. In that case, I recommend something light but effective. A small protein shake made with whey or pea protein, mixed with a bit of milk or almond milk. The goal isn't to eat more, it's to eat smarter. You don't need massive portions. You just need quality, the kind your body can actually use. Let me share a story that always stays with me. A woman named Ellen, 74 years old, came to see me after a fall. She said, "I didn't even trip, doctor. My legs just gave out." We did some tests. Her muscle mass was severely low, her protein intake barely half of what it should be. So we rebuilt her diet. More yogurt, lentils, quinoa, and a little salmon twice a week. Within 4 months, she walked into my office without her cane. She looked me in the eyes and said, "I thought getting old meant getting weak." I was wrong. Moments like that remind me, it's never too late. Your muscles don't retire. They wait for you to notice them again. But here's something most people forget. Protein alone isn't enough. You need movement to tell your muscles, hey, we still need you. Even gentle movement, walking, light stretching, lifting small weights while watching TV, helps send that signal. So think of it this way. Protein is the building material. Movement is the invitation to build. When you combine them, that's when real change happens. And please don't fall for the myth that it's all about gym workouts or supplements. Some of the healthiest, strongest seniors I know never stepped into a gym. They just eat with intention and move with purpose. Every step you take, every bite of real living food you enjoy, that's your medicine. Now, before we move to the next part, I want to leave you with a thought. What if your breakfast tomorrow could decide how strong you'll feel 10 years from now? Because that's the truth. The little things matter. That bowl of Greek yogurt, that handful of lentils, that glass of whey. They're not just meals, they're messages to your body saying, I'm still here. I still care. You see, after 60, health isn't just about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. And every morning you get another chance to start. In the next part, I'll show you how to put all of this together, how to build a simple daily routine that keeps your muscles alive, your energy steady, and your spirit young. Because staying strong after 60 isn't about fighting time. It's about working with it, one thoughtful meal at a time. You know, over the years, I've realized something that textbooks never taught me. Growing older is not a disease. It's a privilege. Every wrinkle, every scar, every gray hair. They're stories, not signs of weakness. But our bodies do whisper to us. They tell us when they're tired, when they're missing something. And most of us, for years, have simply forgotten how to listen. The truth is, your muscles aren't gone. They're waiting for you to nourish them, to move them, to remind them what strength feels like. When I look at my patients, men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, I see something powerful. The ones who thrive aren't necessarily the ones with perfect diets or fancy supplements. They're the ones who choose to care. They wake up every morning and say, today I'm going to give my body what it needs. Maybe it's a bowl of Greek yogurt. Maybe it's a short walk after breakfast. Maybe it's saying no to another skipped meal and yes to a new beginning. Because every meal is a message. Every small choice adds up to something bigger, the life you still want to live. I remember a man named Harold, 82 years old, a retired teacher. He came to me after his doctor told him his muscles were too far gone. He said, Doc, is there really any point in trying? I looked him in the eye and said, if you can ask that question, it means your body's still listening. So we began. Small steps, simple meals. He started cooking again, trying new recipes with quinoa and lentils, drinking his protein shake while sitting in the sun every morning. 6 months later, he walked into my office taller, steadier, brighter. He told me, I used to think getting old meant giving up. Now I see it's just a new way of growing. That line has stayed with me ever since. And I want you to remember it too. Aging isn't about losing what you were. It's about rediscovering what you still are. You are still capable. You are still strong. And most importantly, you are still becoming. So, tonight, when you sit down to eat, don't think of food as just calories or nutrients. Think of it as a gift, a chance to rebuild yourself quietly, one bite at a time. Because the miracle isn't in the protein or the supplement, it's in the decision to care again. If you've been feeling tired lately, if stairs feel steeper or mornings feel heavier, I want you to know you can turn that around. It starts small, right here, right now. Eat like you believe in your future. Move like your body still matters, because it does. And never, ever think it's too late to begin again. Your body still remembers strength. Your spirit still knows how to heal. All it's waiting for is you. May ki bat jiao thu lai dan, jong noi tro nen hehon, hu jang tro chuyen rieng vuang goi sem. Before we finish, I'd like to leave you with one small challenge. Tomorrow morning, I want you to do 2 simple things. First, eat a breakfast that includes real protein, something your muscles will thank you for. And second, take a short walk, even if it's just to your mailbox. As you walk, I want you to say quietly to yourself, I'm still strong. I'm still here. Do that for 1 week, and you'll feel the difference. Do it for a month, and you'll see it. Do it for a year, and you'll live it. Because true health after 60 isn't about being young again. It's about being fully alive, right where you are. If this message spoke to you, if you felt something stir inside, please share this video with someone who needs a little hope today. Leave me a comment below and tell me your story. What's one small change you're making this week for your health? And don't forget to subscribe, not just to this channel, but to the idea that your health, your strength, and your life still matter. Because I'll be here every week, sharing new ways to help you stay strong, stay independent, and stay inspired, no matter your age. Take care of yourself, my friend. And remember, the best time to rebuild your strength is always now.